Hi there. There are 27 cards in Magic Puzzle Quest which make Goblin tokens, and I have put just one of them in this deck of Vika, which is, I think, the mother of all Goblin generators. Goblins have been in the game from the very, very beginning, and I would bet good money that if you played paper Magic back in the day, probably one of your first tribal decks, one of your first theme decks was Goblins. I bet you had a Goblin deck, didn't you? And it was fun, wasn't it? It wasn't necessarily a tournament-winning deck, but it was a fun deck, and it was always good fun to see how many different goblins you could get out on the deck. Because I think back in the day as well, none of them were really that good. They were just all these small creatures, but there were loads of them, and they were readily available in the common card and uncommon card slot, which is again what most of us had most of back in the day. So, and it's honestly not that different to Magic Puzzle Quest. There are loads of goblins, probably less so right now, but I think a few rotations ago, I think there were tons of brilliant goblins, and you could have loads of different types of goblin cards. But right now, I've just got a Vika who, if you haven't used a Vika before, then definitely a chase card, really good fun. Every time I'm playing a spell or a support card, I'm putting out a load of goblins, and you can just make a really big stack of them. I think shall I stop the loop there? Yeah, I'll stop the loop because I don't want the video to be half an hour long. So we'll come round to our turn and we'll have a look at the goblin token. And the goblins have been in the game since the beginning, right from Origins, right from 2015 when Magic Puzzle Quest started. There have been goblins in pretty much every set. Oh, you bugger. Right. Greg's killed our goblins. Let me rethink this. Okay, I am just recording over this next chunk of video. Greg killed my goblins. So I'm just going to go zoomy and make a quick extra stack of goblins, and hopefully we can have a look at them this time. I can't believe he did that. It wasn't very pleasant of him. Yeah, loads of great. I think I was prattling on about all the different cards that make goblins. Loads of really brilliant ones. Goblins are strange in folklore. Actually, they've been around for a really, really long time in folklore. Originally in kind of medieval Europe, the goblins were kind of fairies or sprites, and they were fairly benevolent. They would kind of attach themselves to your household. They would maybe scold naughty children, but weren't really seen as a malevolent force or as a creature. They were this kind of fairy type creature. It comes from the German kobold or Greek kobalos, probably the same root, which means imp or rogue, and has gradually morphed into, I think, the more kind of malevolent, scaly creature with, big ears, pointy nose, and all of that we see now. Tolkien, I think, had a lot to do with that, but you can follow it right through to the Harry Potter books, can't you? And the goblins in the Harry Potter books. So there is our goblin. It's rare. Why? It should be common, shouldn't it? I mean, if ever a token should be common, it's the goblin. They're 1/1. We've got a big old stack of them. They're red and have the creature type goblin. Avika also gives them the creature type Phyrexian, so that's an added thing. They are just goblins, and I think absolutely S tier for stackability. I think they're one of the most stackable tokens in the game. So yeah, really, really easy card to make a massive stack of, and then you could adapt to the base power, and you've got a really quick kill. And this is our current iteration of the Goblin token. I think we've had a couple of different ones. Quite a dark, evil-looking one. It's yet another Svetlin Velenov. So I think this is token number 7 for Svetlin Velenov now, who seems to have painted a lot of our tokens for us. And I think a really nice bit of work, just a bit maybe darker and gloomier than I would really prefer. But this is the ubiquitous Goblin token.